Hey, this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert, helping you and your teams power up. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about something fun. Celebrating. Are you doing it with your teams? Are you doing it with your organization? How are you doing it? You know, at a recent conference for senior living professionals, I said, do you know when you're supposed to start celebrating a new hire? And the couple murmurs, this and that. The answer is the day you hire them. You want them to show up the next day, so start that celebration. And I want you to stay until the very end because I'm going to give you that tip that you should be doing on the first day of every new hire to make sure they're coming back the next day and the next day and the next. So keep watching till the end. Well, what is celebrating versus what is acknowledging? Now, I'm going to link a video that I've already made about acknowledging team members because it is important to have different ways and different places where people feel acknowledged. But celebrating's different, right? Celebrating is a party. Celebrating is a life event. Celebrating means something good has happened, right? A wedding, a birthday, an anniversary. We want to make sure that with our senior living team families, we are also celebrating, but it's important to do it the right way. So a few tips that I want to give about celebrating. The first tip I want to give about celebrating is what? What are you celebrating? It's so important to know what is important to your organization or to individual teams that is worthy of celebrating. So is it if you are in dining that you have a certain amount of high ratings from resident satisfaction scores for a month are excellent. So what type of celebration will you have? What are you celebrating is the first thing. Maybe it's a number of days without a call off. Maybe it's a work anniversary. When I work with teams, when we do our half-day workshops, celebrating is one of our modules because I think it is so important for team members to understand that these events are important, that they should be celebrated. Well, then the next tip after that is how are you going to celebrate? If that goal is met, and again, some of those goals can be personal goals, a work anniversary, they don't all have to be team goals. How are you going to celebrate? What is the present? What is the type of acknowledgement? You know, do you have room in your budget for some small gift items? I worked with a team once that after they, racked up a certain number of celebratory points for, whatever goals were met, they got to spend it in a certain way, whether that was a piece of clothing from the organization or whether it was a different product or a gift card. How will the celebration take place? Is it something that is given? Is it some sort of party? Is it something that you do as a team? Is it a half day off? What are you celebrating? And then how do the celebrations occur? The next tip is when. When does it get celebrated? And I like to say as often as possible. So say you just had everybody show up on a shift, woo, a high five at the end of the day is a celebration. Throwing on your favorite dance, music and dancing your way out is a celebration. These celebrations don't have to be big, but they have to be significant. So this all comes down to the what and the how, and the next is the when. So if it's daily, love it. If it's just after every month, this acknowledgement or the celebration happens. But when you are working through these celebration goals, think about the when. Now, my fourth tip is really important because it involves everyone who is part of a team, but also their attitude. And the tip for this is, does everyone understand what is being celebrated? Because there might be some inaccuracies like, well, that team over there, they celebrated because, everyone showed up, or they celebrated because their sales goal was met. Why aren't we having that celebration? Really clearly spelling out to your teams exactly, when the celebration happened and what types of things are celebrated, so that there's a clear communication of your celebration. Can't say it. Celebratory goals. It's a hard word after you say it enough. So does everyone on your team understand? And then my last tip is make sure everyone is involved. This is when some divisions can happen on teams, when somebody says, oh, they get celebrated for everything. One time I was working with an organization and someone actually brought this up, and they're like, well, sales, everybody gets in sales gets celebrated. It's an easy thing to measure. But guess what? Every team should have easy things to measure so that everyone can be involved. Because if somebody's not involved, they're feeling what? Left out. So make sure there's some continuity through your celebration process so that it does include everyone. Well, those are some of my tips, but I did say stay till the end, because I'm going to give you this, what you should be doing on day one for every new hire to make sure they understand that you think celebrating them and their accomplishments is important. And that is to help them fill out a celebration assessment. I love this. When someone sits down across from you as a new hire and says, what types of things do you like in a celebration? Do you like a party? What is your favorite candy bar? What is your favorite outing? Or what is your favorite restaurant? Would it be okay if we talked about your accomplishments on a bulletin board, on our social media? What's your favorite type of music? So really getting at the core of, how does somebody like to be celebrated? We're not all the same. Somebody's celebration might be, well, if I met that goal, I just want a half hour of quiet reading time tacked on to the end of my lunch hour. They may not want the party, but the more that you can get to what makes your people happy, the more engaged and productive they are. So I am wishing you great celebrations, lots of fun, and really engaging with your employees when goals are met. This is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert, and watch that video that I talked about earlier about acknowledgement, the cousin of celebrations.